All this extreme festival of motorsport action is proudly brought to you by Investchem Chemical Logistics.
A bright, warm, sunshiny welcome to Nelson Mandela Bay in round 3 of the Investchem Formula 1600 Championship. We are here at Aldo Scribante Raceway today, one of the oldest circuits in the country. Before we start with the first race of today, we are going to catch up with 2 of our rookies, Jared Weberski and Josh LaRue. Jared Weberski, DAW Racing, currently lying 2nd overall in the championship. How was your qualifying?
Yeah, qualifying went quite well. Struggled a little bit in the early stages, but then in the last 3 to 4 laps we managed to do some consistent times to 1:0.18. So yeah, that puts us pole for race 2 and second for race 1. So looking good.
You're on the front row of the grid for race 1, Jared. What's the plan?
Yeah, plan is to get a good start and challenge Andrew at the front. And you know, we had a bad race at Swakop, so we need to try and maximize everything we can out of this weekend.
Jared, it's a very short run to the first corner off the start at Aldo Scribante. You're on the front line with Andrew. What's the plan?
Yeah, the plan is to get the best start as possible, because he's on the inside line, so it's quite easy to defend. So getting a really good start is extremely crucial here, and to get in front as early as possible.
Josh, this is your rookie season and you're currently lying 3rd in the championship. How's it going?
It's going really good. I did not expect this coming into this year, and I'm just really excited for the race. We've struggled a bit when we came for the pre-testing, but now yesterday we found some pace and we're hoping to keep pushing.
Now, throughout this season, you are learning these racetracks from scratch.
Yeah, I am. So it's a little nervous on the starts and all of that, but we'll see how it goes.
This track compared to the others is very tight and very technical. You can't afford to make a mistake.
Yeah, no, I mean, yesterday I was going for a fast lap and I made like one mistake and I lost just 3 tenths going into the next lap. So, I mean, you have to be very consistent here, and it's going to be key to win the race as well, to be consistent.
Ian, a good qualifying and a nice place to be in, currently leading the championship.
Yeah, it was very good. What's it called? Got pole for both races, but just by the skin of my teeth from just over a tenth from Dean. So yeah, extremely competitive this morning. Yeah, he was very consistent. So let's see how he goes in the race. Try and get a good start and see what we can do.
Alan, currently 2nd in the championship for the Kents and 2nd on the grid this morning.
Yeah, we're 2nd row of the grid. We're 4th fastest. Yes, 2nd in the championship at the moment. But both Dean and Graham Hepburn are back in the race. They had mechanical problems in Cape Town. And I think Graham had his problems yesterday, so he's sorted. So I think he'll be a factor today. But yes, hopefully by the end of the day, a good race. We'll still be 2nd. Ian is just in a different world. He's really flying around here. I slipped up now with the qualifying. I was under the impression our cars must be 5 to 8 kilos. Meantime, they must be 5 to 5. So we've taken some weight out my car, and I just hope, because we managed a 7.4 yesterday, which I was really happy. And let's see in the race. The race is a different story because you all pull away and you don't want to be left behind.
Thanks, Darren, for that catch up with all the drivers down in the pit lane, getting ready to go now for race number 1. And Raxtor is definitely the man to watch out for at the front end of this field, and has certainly found something special in 2021. Can anybody else find something special to try and beat him? We'll have to wait and see. Weberski certainly seems fired up, so does Josh LaRue, and Nicholas Van Wheelie not too far off the back for the ex-champion. Venter, it's RI time and time to go racing. Let's get them to the line and see what's going to happen here. As they roll to the line, you can see windy conditions have picked up ever so slightly, but it's still about 20 degrees Celsius. And 45 km/h winds are going to be a big factor, that is for sure. Time to get some heat in those rubber, get them to the line, and as we get rocking and rolling, moving off for the warm-up lap. See, they made their way down to turn number 1. Looks like in the background, a little bit of a problem there. By the looks of things, one of the cars has slowed up pretty dramatically. I think that might be Lieutenant Mayer. Yes, it is. Lieutenant Colonel Alan Mayer with a problem putting his hand up. He's going to wait for the field to go through there of the Formula Ford Kents as well, and then he'll probably just pull to the sideline and out of harm's way. Goes to the Exeter pit lane and gets completely out and off the circuit. Something has gone wrong there for Alan Mayer at the start. As they make their way around, remember we've got Formula Ford Kent involved in the Formula 1600s as well. I expect a big battle there between Fenter and Schofield. But as they come up here, you can see they're just starting to sort things out. And oh, hello. Brendan Tracy going up the back end of Foss there. A little bit of a touch and a bit of debris off the side of the car. That could be a concern. So keep an eye on that one. But definitely a little bit of a touch there between them. The Geldernace boys were in the mix there as well. Very lucky to avoid that. But join us off the break to find out what happens here in race number 1. Andrew Rackstraw has not been bettered this entire season. He's on pole position and he's going to be looking to try and outgun everybody by the time they get to turn 1. But Jared Roberski is on the outside and probably the cleaner line of the two. Here it's going to be a big battle between those two. Look out for Josh LaRue just behind that and the former champion Nicholas Van Wheelie. Ivan Holtzhausen not too far off the back end as we go on board here with Andrew Schofield in the Fly Saf air car. As they get off the line, he goes side by side there with Geldernace heading down toward turn 1. Josh LaRue just up the inside. Oh, and almost a touch there as Holtzhausen had a big look to try and get on the inside of LaRue. LaRue shut the door. Round the outside though, good move there from Van Wheelie. Van Wheelie already up in a third place, making up some ground. As they come through there, Schofield looks like he leads things out in the Kent category, but it's Josh LaRue on board with as they go into the Schaeffler S's for the first time. Looking for a way to return the favour there on Nicholas Van Wheelie, who just outgunned him to turn 1. It's a great shot here just over the left-hand shoulder, and look how hard he's having to work. It's a busy little cockpit, particularly at this track. And as he gets on the brakes, is he close enough? No. Van Wheelie sees him coming, goes to the middle of the circuit and does not give any opportunity there for Josh LaRue to find a way past. But he is definitely pushing hard to try and get that opportunity there, for sure. Right on his tail, though, there's a couple of cars starting to line themselves up for opportunities. Brendan Tracy off that little touch early on. A bit worried about the front wing there because there was a little bit of damage on that car. There's a move from Josh LaRue diving on the inside, using the inside curb as well as he tries to look on the way through, but can't get up the inside, and Van Wheelie was very lucky to avoid that overtaking opportunity. Just behind that, Holtzhausen leads out the second pack. Here comes Foss. Foss going to try and go defensive on Geldernace, and oh man, Andrew Schofield just behind that as well. They are just at it here and at each other's throats, big time. Foss on the defensive. Geldernace behind that. Then it's the Fly Saf air car there of Schofield. Schofield got Tracy just behind him. They come into the S's now, starting to close things up. The concertina effect into the S's there, led out by the 16 car of Evan Holtzhausen as we go in there. And Evan doing a superb job there in the Total Plastics car as they come into the very fast right-hand sweep. Up to the top of the hill, to the hairpin. Here comes a move. Is Josh LaRue on the inside of Van Wheelie. He's got through this time, set that up perfectly. And coming out a hanger sweep, he was just right on it. Dived on the inside early on and made the move stick on the brakes. Antoine Geldernace further back here, trying to do the similar kind of maneuver. He's got to find a way through on Gerard. He's got to find a way through on Ivan as well. Going to be easy, that is for sure. Nice little battle that's starting to raise there for 5th place on track. 3rd and 4th coming out of the final corner, and 1 and 2 disappearing at the front end. Looks like Andrew Rackstraw's got it all sorted out. Roberski, no answer at this stage. Oh, good move there from Foss. Across the line, pulling out of the slipstream. Might have been a little bit too early to pull out the slipstream though. But Alex Foss definitely looking for a way now, and he goes on the inside into turn 1. He went outside across the line and inside into turn 1. But Ivan Holtzhausen saw him coming and said, no, you're going to have to work harder than that. The Total Plastics man, in fact, he makes a mistake. There goes Foss off the circuit and flying off into the first part of the S's. He's hit the wall. Looks like the throttle might have jammed there for Alex Foss. Something went wrong on the car, and he's ended up in the tyre barrier. That's not what he wanted, that is for sure. Alex Foss out of this one. This is Alex Foss's point of view as they come through there. He just puts a wheel on the dirty stuff, and then it just all gets out of shape, and he goes slamming into the Schaeffler S's wall. Oh man, that is a nasty, nasty little incident there. And he'll be stuck and out of this one for race number 1, that is for sure. Is there a possibility of a safety car or possibly even anything else? No, it doesn't look like it. Seems to be out of harm's way, and we carry on racing. Bit of a gap opened up now for 1st and 2nd as Rackstraw starts to command things from the front end ahead of Roberski. Roberski's done a similar kind of gap to 3rd place Josh LaRue, and Josh LaRue still having to fend off the intentions of Nicholas Van Wheelie. Not too far behind them though. The battle for 5th place also starting to heat up and continues to be a big one between Holtzhausen, Geldernace and Schofield. 2 laps to go. Easy stuff here for Rackstraw. There is the gap to 2nd. There's the 3rd. Oh, problem there for the Suburban Body Shop man. As Graham Hepburn's gone a little bit haywire. He had some problems yesterday. Had to change the whole gearbox and engine in that car and was hoping for a slightly better result, but looks like he might have had an incident somewhere out on the circuit that's forced him off the track. We'll try and pick up on that one if we can. Look at the late braking coming out of Geldernace. Oh, in fact, it's way too late. He got that locked up into turn one. Very lucky to catch it, that's for sure. This is Roberski in second, all on his own, through the fastest right-hander here. And he also runs wide onto the curbs. Jared Roberski certainly becoming a big contender in this championship, but of course he's got to catch his arch rival at the front end there, Andrew Rackstraw, who has not put a wheel wrong this entire season. Just gone through there on Steve Fenter. Looks like there could be a little bit of an issue here for Jared Roberski if he could find some more back markers to help him out, but I think he's running out of laps and running out of time. Those back markers coming out of the Kent class, currently being led out by Dean Fenter, Ronald Van Wheelie in second place there. That's Big Ron, and Graham Foss in third place in that category. They're a bit further up the road, but as these guys come across the road, we're of course looking for the final lap to start. It has, and Roberski goes on the inside of Graham Foss into turn one, or does he? Oh, Foss just saw him coming into turn one and avoided turning into the DAW man as he goes back into the Schaeffler S's. Roberski tried to use those back markers, but it was perfect timing from Rackstraw to get through on the back markers and not be hindered by them at all. So half a lap to go now for Rackstraw. Don't think Roberski's going to have an answer. They come up on the inside of Ronald Van Wheelie. He moves over and gives Rackstraw some room to get through. And Van Wheelie, of course, second place in this category, and I don't know if they're going to catch Dean Fenter. Dean Fenter might be the only one of the Kent class that doesn't get caught and lapped by the time the checkered flag comes out. Coming up onto the back end of Hepburn. Hepburn should still be able to survive, but as they come to the checkered flag, it's race driver SA and the Investchem car about to take its third victory. And that's 5 out of 6 now for Andrew Rackstraw. Perfect start to the season, that is for sure. And no answer yet from anybody. Roberski tried hard. He was found wanting by a couple of seconds, and so was Josh LaRue. LaRue hanging on to take the third place ahead of Van Wheelie. And Evan Holtzhausen beating out Gelderhuis to the line. The drive there coming out of Jeff Gable as well, as he makes a welcome return to the Kent category. And let's get those official results now. It's Andrew Rackstraw from Roberski and Josh LaRue, Van Wheelie and Holtzhausen. And the top 5 in the Kents were Fenter, Van Wheelie, Foss, Gable and Graham Hepburn. Darren's down in pit lane to catch up now with Rackstraw.
Andrew, 5 wins, 5 starts, congratulations. But Jared Roberski put a bit of pressure on you.
Oh yeah, 100%. Firstly, thank you. It's going very well this season. I'm really putting my head down and seeing what I can do. And yeah, I mean, it's awesome to see the youngsters come up and they're on the pace, and it's going to be exciting racing. So for that, I'm very happy. And yeah, he put some pressure on me. I managed to hold him off though. And yeah, I'm just ready for the next race.
The next race, you are not starting from pole position. You are starting on the dirty side of the track, which means your start has to count.
Oh yeah, definitely. I made a small mistake in qualifying, which resulted in P2 for the second race, but I'm not too phased. I'm just going to bank some points and, yeah, most important, have fun.
Welcome back to action from the Extreme Festival of Motorsport in Kwabaga for the Investchem 1600 second heat of the day. Heat has dropped, wind has picked up. Going to be a little bit more challenging for these drivers. The wings and slicks are certainly going to be put to the test at the front end for the Formula 1600s. And the Formula Kent category, if we're going to have a return of a couple of cars that had some issues. Katsumisu going through a bit of data there with these two boys. There's a big battle at the front end initially between Roberski and Rackstraw, but eventually Andrew Rackstraw disappearing and making it 5 out of 5 so far. Could he make it 6 out of 6 by the end of this one? We'll have to wait and see. A couple of changes to a few of the cars. A gearbox change coming for Graham Hepburn as well, as he has to go and get things sorted out yet again in the Suburban Panel Beaters car. Fortunately, his dad Andrew is there to help him out and get that all sorted out. There is the old engine and gearbox that unfortunately gave up the ghost. And he's got some work to do now to try and get back into the front at the front for the Kent class. Josh LaRue will be closing in on the back end of Roberski and Rackstraw. Rackstraw has not been betted, as we saw, 5 out of 5 so far for that man. But he has been betted once, and that's for the pole position. Jared Roberski on pole, just alongside him and to the left-hand side of the shot. LaRue just behind that. Gelderhuis and Van Wheelie. Much better start there from Gerard Gelderhuis. He's certainly going to try and stay ahead of Van Wheelie and his brother. And then further back, not such a great qualifying for the second heat for Evan Holtzhausen. Good to see Ian Schofield back on track. He had some problems in the first one, didn't quite get out there. We're on board with Rackstraw as we're about to go racing. It's RDSA Investchem versus DAW and RDSA as they head down towards turn 1. Rackstraw getting a great start off the line. What a pull off the line there for Andrew Rackstraw. Just decimating the pole man and gets to the front end, onto the brakes into turn 1. Looks like there's a little bit of a maneuver coming from Josh LaRue to go around the outside of Roberski into turn 1. It's Schofield leading things out from Dean Fenter. Dean Fenter from Hepburn. Hepburn just ahead there of the rest of the pack. I think it was possibly Jeff Gable tucked into the mix there as well. 1600s come flying through the Schaeffler S's for the first time. Then the Kent category just behind that. Yes, it was Jeff Gable just in the background. But we're on board here with Big Ron Van Wheelie, Magnificent Peyton, Hardware Man, pushing hard for 4th place. He's lost a little bit of ground there to Hepburn, trying to make up that ground. Oh, Holtzhausen out of shape. Antoine Holtzhausen getting it completely out of shape and almost taking out the braking markers there into the hairpin. Alan Mayer diving up the inside as well and making his way through the field. Coming into the spare car by looks of him. Is that an F1 rule allowed in this category? Maybe. As we go into Chevy Sweep. Big move coming out of Ron Van Wheelie. And in fact, Ron Van Wheelie has got to make up some ground now because with that move from Alan May, he's demoted down one position. Duke Geldernace boys all over the back end of Holtzhausen. Across the line, though, it's race driver SA's Andrew Rackstraw who leads things out again. The Fly FA man here coming across the line and going right to the wall to try and avoid the wind as much as possible. Andrew Schofield also looking to try and close down on the cars in front of him. It's Geldernace just up the road. He's made a mistake. Antoine's second mistake of the race and onto the dirty stuff out there. There's not a lot of room for error, and with these low slung cars that'll definitely do some damage to the undercarriage of that car potentially. But let's keep an eye on Geldernace's return to the track, and if it has hindered his ability. It's his brother just ahead there of Schofield as they go through. This is Nicholas Van Wheelie trying to close things down there on the leaders. Not going to be easy for them to do, I can tell you that. Van Wheelie has got a great turn of pace and is a very seasoned and experienced driver, but he's got 3 young guns out front that are certainly showing they've got what it takes to potentially take this championship for 2021. Further back, that's Jeff Gable. Nice to see him back in a Formula Ford Kent. As Ron Van Wheelie makes a mistake, Big Ron out of shape. Is that going to give Gable a chance to dive on his inside? No, he sees him coming, shuts the door. Just a little off track there for Ron Van Wheelie. He was very lucky to survive that one. Across the line goes his son Nicholas, and just behind that they line up with Schofield trying to close down once again on Gerard Geldernace. Geldernace just up the road from him, not too far away. Look at how Evan Holtzhausen is starting to close things down as well. Big battle here at the front end of the Kent category, starting to heat up there in a big way. Schofield, Graham Foss, Graham Hepburn, as they come into the Schaeffler S's. That's the back end, and we're looking just in the background there to pick up on the Kent cars as Geldernace goes at it again for Schofield. Keeping out Schofield. We're on board here with Evan Holtzhausen as we go through Hanger Sweep. Into the little curb there, and now onto the brakes. Can you find a way to close down on Van Wheelie? Van Wheelie is very good on the brakes. Difficult man to pass at any circuit in this country on the brakes is Nicholas Van Wheelie. That magnificent paint and hardware car of his, keeping out the Total Plastics car of Holtzhausen. They head up towards the final turn now. That is the gap between themselves and those two. And 2 cars of Rackstraw and Roberski. Roberski a lot closer to Rackstraw this time. Hasn't opened up the same commanding lead he had in the first race. Speaking of lead, this is the lead of the Kents. Fenter in the mix there. Here comes the Suburban panel beaters car of Graham Hepburn. And Schofield just up the road, leading at the moment. He goes defensive into the final corner. Schofield going to try and keep out both of those drivers on his tail. Dean Fenter definitely wants through, and so does Hepburn. And Rackstraw through the S's. Nice shot here over his right-hand shoulder. Showing you what he can do and how hard he works in the cockpit there. As they head up towards Hanger. Here's a move here from Dean Fenter, and it's Hepburn looking for a way past. Fenter goes defensive on the inside line. Hepburn going to try and cut back through into the S's and maybe get the inside line. Fenter sees him coming. He goes on the inside line. He's going to have a look. Just gets his nose cut off there. Has to just tuck in behind Fenter as they go through the S's again. Up the road from them, this is Dean Fenter looking at the man up the road. That's Schofield in the lead. And if we could just turn that wing mirror slightly, we'd be able to pick up on Hepburn as they head towards the hairpin. Fenter going defensive, goes to the middle of the circuit. And yeah, there's a touch. I was expecting that at some point. Hepburn was very close, up close and personal there with Dean Fenter, and he gave him a little tag on the back. Fenter not able to keep the car running, he has to get it fired up again. And spinning out in the background. Is there a possibility of some fluid on the circuit after that little tag? Possibly. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe a change of surface flag required there, but Ron Van Wheelie definitely got caught out by it. He spun out into the hairpin as he came up onto the back end of that incident. And you can see the incident now all cleared. Ron Van Wheelie tucks in behind the first 2 cars in the Formula 1600s. He's lost a lot of ground, and unfortunately that's going to drop him right out of contention for a good overall victory. Might still be ahead of Steve Fenter at this point in time, but that's the only car that he is ahead of in the Kent class. Roberski is not ahead of Rackstraw. Rackstraw still leads out as they complete another lap. And there you go to the line. It is a great bit of maneuvering there. Let's go back and have a look at this from Ron Van Wheelie's point of view. Oh no, he's just on the brakes a little bit late and locked up all on his own. So Alan Mayer goes around his outside, inside for Jeff Gable. He fortunately kept the car running and was able to get it going relatively quickly, but you can see he lost out quite a big margin. Looks like there's a bit of a problem here for Dean Fenter as well. Is there some damage on that car as he just waved? No, he's just waving. No, there's some damage on the car. I was about to say, looks like he's just waving the leader through, but he actually was getting out of the way because he might have picked up a bit of damage there between himself and Graham Hepburn when they came together up at the hairpin. We have to keep an eye on that car for the next couple of laps. There's only a couple of laps to go. We're on board with Rackstall. He now comes up onto the back end of Alan Mayer. Alan Mayer and Jeff Gable fighting hard. Looking to dive on the inside. Gable will probably see him coming. Mayer saw him coming, opened up the door. Gable will give him a little bit of room. Try and go on the inside. No, he just follows his race line. Here's the return of the Suburban panel beaters car. It's first and second in the Kent category. And a much better run this time out of Graham Hepburn, trying to go and get around Ian Schofield. Schofield also had some problems, remember, in the first heat, not getting out onto the circuit. So he definitely wants to try and secure some championship points here. And a win will definitely be the way to do that. As they go into turn one, Hepburn late on the brakes, changing up his line ever so slightly, trying to rail the last part of the apex to get into the S's in a slightly more attacking mode. He comes out of the S's now, and he's not too far off the back end of that gearbox of Ian Schofield in front of him. It's the man from the Investchem team taking on the man from Alton and Suburban panel beaters machine as they come up onto the brakes. Oh, late move there. Oh, there's out of shape there for Hepburn. Oh, he got that completely wrong. Oh, Graham Hepburn just thought about going on the inside line. He just went a little bit off track, unfortunately. Ian Schofield's about to give him a face full of roost. There's a nose cone and some body parts on the Suburban panel beaters car stuck all over the circuit. And with the leaders coming through there, very lucky to avoid that for Andrew Rackstraw and Jared Roberski. But it doesn't look like we're going to be able to see. Or did he get going again? Looks like Hepburn did get going just in the background. I saw him back on track, but a lot of battle scars on that car. Schofield very lucky to survive that. He's still going to take the win because the two of them had a decent enough margin over Graham Foss. And despite the incident with 2 to go, looks like he's going to be able to survive it. And he'll be a bit concerned about the antics and the maybe a little bit of running out of talent there from Graham Hepburn. I don't want to take anything away from him. Hepburn's got a huge amount of talent and experience, but the experience was found wanting there a bit on the brakes. And he's still found wanting. He's stuck. I thought it was the other black car that had got going, but it possibly was another car that I saw in the background. This is Schofield's point of view of the incident. And see, oh yeah, no way. There's no way that Graham Hepburn was going to make that move stick. Schofield looks across, fires it up, and just roosts Hepburn with a big face of dust. Let's have a look at it one more time, going up into the hairpin. You can see he goes on the inside and just runs a little bit wide. And as he puts the wheels on the dirt, there's just no way you're going to slow that car down, Graham. And yeah, T-Bone City there. This is Dean Fenter running off the circuit and getting back on track again. It was a bit earlier on, and you can see he didn't quite get back on track. He actually ran off the circuit a second time. So there may be an issue there after Fenter had that touch. And the car is not going as well as what he'd like it to be, that is for sure. Good driving, though, from him. You can see not going directly back on circuit and possibly spoiling the day for the rest of the drivers coming through into what was the S's and now into hangar. But he stays out of harm's way and back on track and still should be able to pick up. Red flag has been called. I think it's due to all the incidents and, of course, the stricken car of Graham Hepburn. That potentially will bring the race to an end, though, because I think they've completed the 75% required, and that's going to give Andrew Rackstraw his 6th win out of 6 starts, ahead of Jared Roberski in 2nd place. Let's get confirmation of those results. There it is. Rackstraw from Roberski, Van Wheelie and Holtzhausen with Geldenhuys in 5th. Schofield hangs on to the win ahead of Foss. Hepburn still gets 3rd place because of the red flag, and Gable ahead of Alan Mayer. Let's catch up now with Graham to find out what went wrong.
And then Ian, Dean and myself had a nice ding-dong battle, but unfortunately it's a tight circuit and there's not a lot of passing. So I went up the inside of Ian on the marbles and I braked myself into him. So not the end result we wanted, but we're getting there.
Ian, that was quite a bit of a collision there between you and Graham Hepburn.
Yeah, it's quite a shock actually. I saw he was behind me and arrived at the hairpin, braked and turned in, and next thing, bang, got hit straight in the side, and as you can see, all the side of my car's all damaged. I don't know how he thought he was going to stop, but he obviously didn't until he hit me. So there's a bit of damage to the car, but at least managed to keep going and get it across the line.
Well, congratulations. It's certainly better than your first race performance.
Yeah, the first race was a disaster. We had no clutch. We had a problem, so we missed the first race completely after qualifying on pole. But at least we've made up for it in the second one. So, a bit of damage to the car, but at least we're here all in one piece.
Ewan, you've learnt this track for the first time this weekend, but you also had some really tight battles.
Yeah, no, it was quite difficult, but at the end it all worked out for me and I'm happy with my results. So yeah, what else can I ask for my first time racing in PE? Not a bad result.
Great result there, moving up into the championship, up in a 6th place there for Evan Holtzhausen. Rackstraw takes the lead with a perfect score ahead of Werberski and Van Wheelie, LaRue and Foss. Laren is down in pit lane to catch up with Andrew Rackstraw.
Andrew, everything's coming up roses in Race Driver SA at the moment. 6 starts, 6 wins.
Yeah, I am so happy. I knew this weekend wasn't going to be easy with a lot of competition, strong competition. But yeah, again, we managed to pull out full house of points, I think even getting the lap record. And yeah, it's not easy at all, and I have to say a massive thanks to RDSA and Investchem and Hendrik for all the work that they put in, because I mean, without them, nothing would be possible. So yeah, just going to keep my head down for the rest of the season and see what happens.
Well, folks, that's a wrap from Aldo Scribante and Nelson Mandela Bay. We will all be back with you on the 3rd of July in East London for a great racing weekend. From us, all of us, goodbye.
All this extreme festival of motorsport action is proudly brought to you by Investchem Chemical Logistics.